We're less than 2 weeks away from the initial release of the Angler Call of the Wild, and I don't know about you, but I'm getting pretty darn excited. But I will say that EW has come out with a new dev diary which is going to show us a little bit more information about this new fishing game coming out. So let's get into it. 5 new things you should know about Call of the Wild the Angler to make your fishing experience just a little bit more fun. So hit that like button, pack your tackle boxes, and let's get into it, everyone. Alright, 5 new things that you should know about Call of the Wild the Angler. Let's get into it. Number 1, the fish will be visible to you. Just like the Hunter Call of the Wild, the animals are constantly around, and because of that, you know, it makes sense that they would have an engine that would support having lots of animals swimming around in this scenario. So we're going to have fish swimming around, and you're going to be able to visibly see them. What I'm curious is if we're going to see some polarized glasses or something as an accessory to help you see these fish. That will be interesting to see. But I do like the idea of being able to see like a largie in the water, you know, underneath some lily pads or something, and being able to cast towards them and see him coming out and grabbing it. Just sounds like a really cool experience. And I know a lot of people compare this game to Fishing Planet, and in Fishing Planet we can't see those fish. We don't know where they are. We kind of, you know, think, oh, this looks like a good spot, let's cast out here, see what we catch. And you know, that's kind of how it happens. Our lure goes around, a fish spawns in and goes and attacks it, but not in Call of the Wild the Angler. These fish are going to be here, we're going to be able to see them and cast towards them, which gets me excited for fly fishing if they ever decide to put that in a game, because you know, fly fishing can be very visual sometimes, but getting too carried away. Let's get into point number 2. Point number 2, we finally got a full list visually of the 12 species we will be seeing at this reserve. And although I don't know one of them officially, I do have an idea of what it could be. We have the largemouth bass, the smallmouth bass, bluegill, channel cat, perch, pike, golden trout, rainbow trout, lake trout, what I assume to be a walleye. Sauger just doesn't seem as popular as walleye, so I would assume they would go with walleye. The kokanee salmon, which I was curious if they were going to include with it being Wyoming. And then this last fish, I'm not sure if it's a cutthroat or a brook. There's a very reddish line along the bottom, it looks like anyway, which it's really dark, which worries me that it might be a brook trout, but Wyoming is known for the cutthroat trout. So I'm not sure why they would do brook over cutthroat, but I guess if I was going to put my money on it, it would have to be cutthroat, but the picture sure kind of reminds me of a brook trout. So I don't know, we'll just have to see. But it is pretty exciting to see these 12 fish, what we're going to be targeting. We've been wondering it for a long time, kind of putting together different words we saw every dev diary they put out, or little things on Steam and little pictures we've seen in the game. And now we finally got all 12 species, which is pretty cool. Now number 3, which we got from this handbook picture, is that we can see that these fish will have certain lures that they go for, certain baits that they go for, which makes sense, but they also have fish traits, which is very interesting that they included this. Kind of reminds me of like the Madden games where you had like the linebacker who was like, I don't even remember what the traits were, like hard hitter and like a wall or something like that. Well, these fish are going to be very similar. You can see here on the trout one, what looks to be kind of like hitting a lure. You know, if you're reeling in, this thing is going to absolutely demolish your lure, and that might be the sign that you have a pike on, though the largies could have the same thing, and you might be fishing in a very similar environment, so who's to say if that will really help you figure out if it's a pike or a largemouth. I don't know. Or a smallmouth too, I don't want to leave those guys out. Now you can also see that there's a fish jumping out of the water, as well as a trait that kind of shows like a deep dive or something like that, or maybe it shows their like endurance of fighting or something like that, that little trait right there, because you can see the circle kind of going around part way. Makes you wonder what that stands for. Is it just kind of like their fight, like how much they're gonna fight you or something? Maybe a bluegill just has like a tiny bit, but this pike has almost a full circle. That would be really interesting to see. I'm curious what you guys think. Make sure you comment down below, and we'll just see what everyone thinks about that one. But while that covers the most recent dev diary, something that I didn't go over in a previous video is the last dev diary that we got, which goes over fish spawn and the fish locations on the map. Now there's over 20 different things to go into where a fish is going to be, as well as the quality of that fish, but we've been giving a few examples of what those 20 are. So the fish location will be based on water depth, the time of day, temperature, flow speed, turbidity, and bed vegetation, just to name a few out of the 20, which is pretty incredible when you think about, you know, all these different places that the fish are going to be, and also the quality you know, of the fish that are going to be there. And that will go into the last thing that you should know, is that some areas are going to be better than other areas. You can see this on the map here, where you can see just little bits of terrain differences. All it takes to go from, you know, silver to a gold of a specific fish, just if you're fishing in the right area. And it could just be a few feet to the right or something like that. It will be really interesting to see how we're going to be able to figure that out as the angler. And something I also saw from this picture, which will screw me up as a person that, you know, will fish from a boat every once in a while, is that there's no fish underneath the dock. And usually if I'm out fishing and stuff, you know, a dock is a great place for cover where the fish might be hiding underneath, and, you know, if I throw something around there, it might have an opportunity for that fish to dart out and grab it. But it is interesting to see in this picture specifically, there's no fish underneath that dock. And I'm curious if they're going to change that, or maybe it was just this picture that they're showing, or if some of the other docks are going to have fish. It'll be really interesting to see. Comment down below, tell me what you think. But there you go, everyone. 5 new things you should know about Call of the Wild the Angler before it releases here in less than 2 weeks, August 31st for people on PC, I believe, when it comes out on console later on, maybe? Question mark? Haven't really been told, I don't believe, but I am certainly looking forward to seeing it. I'm hoping I get my hands on it before it releases to get a little early access, and I'm really excited to play it, so it should be a really fun game. Anyways, I've said it many times, but I'll say it again. If you have any comments about the games or questions about what I think about something, make sure you comment it down below, and I'll try my best to get to it. But if you enjoyed the video or found it helpful, educational in any way, make sure you hit that like button. I'd really appreciate it. And if you want to see more videos like this in the future, or early access to the new fishing game coming out, make sure you hit that subscribe button and become part of the BZ Hub, everyone. Now, if you want to join us in our live streams every Monday, Wednesday, 7:30 to 9:30 p.m. Central, make sure you do so. But until the next episode, everyone, take care, and as always, remember, everyone, we're one planet, one family, game on.